Shalom, shalom, people. How y'all? How's it going on? Got another video and another joint for you. Just talking about a few things a lot of people may not know. Some people do know, but let's touch on a few things. Let's be aware. This is called the cognizant of Eden. This is about Adam and Eve, when they was first created and how things was formed and how things, the way we see it now, may not make sense to you. We're gonna make a little bit of sense and try to understand what's going on according to the law, statutes, and commandments, okay? So let's get into it. We're gonna go into the book of Genesis, chapter 2, okay? 7 and 9. This is the book of the law called Genesis, okay? The first 5 books is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Those are the first 5 books that Moses wrote before he died. And these first 5 books are so important for us to understand how we can be able to get started with doing the right things as opposed to doing the wrong things that you see today. We're going to go through the book of Genesis, which is the first book, which is the first law. And we're going to try to get some understanding. All right, peoples? Bear with me. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 through verse 9. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So God did a couple of things, okay? He created man, and when he created this man from the ground. Man wasn't just born like how we birth children today. So when God formed this man out of the ground, out of dirt, dust, okay? This man did not have life yet. He blew into his nostrils and gave him breath. He started to breathe. Now he placed this man into the Garden of Eden. But before he did all of these things, there's a couple of events that had to transpire first. So by him doing this thing, God had somewhat of a plan to give man not only life, but to give man the land and let him live according to what he formed. So by God forming man and placing him into the garden, he had a plan for him. This wasn't just saying, yeah, I'm going to give you life and I'm going to put you out here on the land and that's it. No, there was a plan to go with this. Right? Let me see. The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 15 through 17. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. So when God formed man and he put all of these trees inside of this garden right here, also the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, I don't care whatever tree and whatever plant you eat off of, whatever fruit you eat off of, you can eat off of it. But the tree of knowledge of good and evil, do not touch it. Don't look at it. Don't even think about it. Leave that tree alone, because if you touch that tree, you're going to die. So if I hear this word and I know that I'm about to die because I chose to touch a tree that was not supposed to be meant for me, I deserve to die. I don't deserve to live because I was given a straight commandment. When you go against a commandment, guess what happens? You're going to die because of this. The man told you. It wasn't like God did not tell you you're not going to die. Oh, yeah, go ahead and touch the tree if you want to, and I might think about it. No, I'm letting you know now. If you touch this tree, you are going to die. Point blank, period. Right? So this is a commandment. This was the first commandment that he gave the first man that he created. So let's check this out. Let's see where he's going with this. This was the only man at this time now, when he gave him this commandment. So when he gave him this commandment and told him not to touch this tree or you will die, he was the only man. Now, Adam, at the time, before he was even formed, God created all other things. So one of the things that God created at that moment of time, before Adam even came, was created all cattle. He created all beasts. He created everything that flies into the sky. He created all of these things first. And to tell you right now, these things never had a name. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a tiger. It wasn't no lions. It wasn't no elephants. It wasn't no fish. It wasn't no birds. They have no name whatsoever. They was naked. Let's check this out. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him. So now, it was only just the animals. It was the garden that God created and just Adam at that moment of time. But God is seeing this thing and seeing that this man is by himself. He is alone. You know what? He needs some help. You know what I'm saying? There's no way this man is going to be able to continue to stay headstrong and do what I want him to do continually without no type of help. He is the only man that I created at this moment of time. So let's see what this helpmeet was about. In order for us to understand what this helpmeet was about, we have to go to the book of Jubilee. The book of Jubilee, I will explain it to you exactly what's going on according to the book of Jubilee. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that up. This right here is called the Book of Jubilee, okay? I'm going to explain to you exactly what the Book of Jubilee is and what's its meaning of and how important it is. Give me a second. This is the meaning of what a jubilee is. This name admirably describes the book as it divides into jubilee periods of 49 years each. The history of the world from the creation to the legislation on Sinai. The writer, that's just it. At the end of it, what he is letting you know about this book of Jubilee is that there's a period of every 49 years, there's a new thing that's going to either happen or this is what's happening right now. And it's marked down like that. And this reason why is the 49 years is because 7 times 7 is 49. 7 is a number of completion. Okay, so we'll get to that in one of these videos. But to understand what a Jubilee is that 49 years when Adam was created and God decided to give him a helpmeet. When he gave him this helpmeet, which was Eve, it wasn't just, okay, I made Adam, I made Eve, and then this is it. You know, everybody can get ahead and they can just live in the garden and that's it. No, there was a couple of things that transpired. Now, to understand that the creation was in the beginning, which is Genesis, up into the legislation. A legislation is an enactment of laws. Adam and Eve did not have 10 laws, statutes, and commandments, or 613 laws, statutes, and commandments. It is 613 laws that we are actually supposed to follow. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. That makes up, the 10 statutes and commandments makes up the 613, okay? So it's the laws, the statutes, and commandments, and judgments. You cannot forget the judgments. If you forget the judgments, then you are completely losing a whole portion of what you are actually supposed to do. So when a person tells you, yo, don't judge me because God says don't judge me. Okay, I'm not judging you according to what you look like. I'm judging you according to the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what I'm supposed to do. But we're going to understand what the legislation or the Sinai or the Mount, when Moses was given these particular laws to give to the children of Israel, the 600,000 that came out of the captivity or the bondage that they was in for 400 years. We was in bondage for 400 years. We never even knew who God was. But because we forsake the law, statutes, and commandments at that moment in time, this is the reason why these people went into captivity. These people had to work 7 days out the week. They had to build statues. They had to worship other gods that they never even knew before, let alone the God that actually gave them life. They didn't know what their purpose was. They didn't know their heritage. They didn't know that they was Hebrew Israelites. So Moses had to rise up and take these children up out. Man, if it wasn't for Moses, I don't even think we'll be even able to even walk around here. We are probably still being over there in Egypt right now, building up something for Pharaoh. I'm not going to lie. So we're going to understand first exactly who Moses is, just a little bit. And then I'm going to go into why, or who is the helpmeet towards Adam, and what thing actually had to happen before they can actually go into the garden. Oh, okay. I see. This is the book of Jubilees, chapter 1. And it came to pass in the 4th year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Egypt, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that God spake to Moses, saying, Come up to me on the mount, and I will give thee 2 tables of stone of the law and of the commandment, which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses went up unto the mount of God, and the glory of the Lord abode on Mount Sinai. And the cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moses on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud. And the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a flaming fire on the top of the mount. And Moses was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights. And God taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the law and of the testimony. And he said, Incline thine heart to every word which I shall speak to thee on this mount, and write them in a book, in order that their generations may see how I have not forsaken them for all the evil which they have wrought in transgressing the covenant which I established between me and thee for their generations this day on Mount Sinai. And thus it will come to pass, when all these things come upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions, and they will recognize that I have been truly with them. And do thou write for thyself all these words which I declare unto thee this day. For I know their rebellion and their stiff-necked, before I bring them into the land of which I swear to their fathers, to Abraham, and to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey, and they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods, to gods which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation. And this witness shall be heard for a witness against them. For they will forget all my commandments, even all that I commanded them, and they will walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and will serve their gods. And these will prove unto them an offense, and a tribulation, and an affliction, and a snare. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinances, and my commandments, and the festivals of my covenant, and my Sabbaths, and my holy place, which I have hallowed for myself in their midst, and my tabernacle, and my sanctuary, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there. And they will make to themselves high places, and groves, and graven images, and they will worship, each his own graven image, so as to go astray, and they will sacrifice their children to demons, and to all the works of the error of their hearts. And I will send witnesses unto them, that I may witness against them, but they will not hear. And will slay the witnesses also, and they will persecute those who seek the law. And they will abrogate and change everything, so as to work evil before my eyes. And I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hand of the Gentiles for captivity, and for a prey, and for devouring. And I will remove them from the midst of the land, and I will scatter them amongst the Gentiles. And they will forget all my law, and all my commandments, and all my judgments, and will go astray as to new moons, and Sabbaths, and festivals, and jubilees, and ordinances. So here it is. God is letting Moses know that even though I'm going to give you these law, statutes, and commandments, even though I'm taking these people up out with a great sign and a great wonder, and I'm taking them through the Red Sea. Nobody never parted the Red Sea before but God. So when God did this thing, this was something that was brand new. Even them didn't even see it. But I'm letting you know right now, Moses, even though I'm giving you this information, these people are going to forsake the Lord. They are going to forget everything it is that you are going to teach them. We was in the wilderness with the Lord and Moses, our leader, for 40 years. So you locked up for 40 years. You ain't know who God was until he took you up out of your captivity. And he's trying to let you know, if you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments right here, I got you. Don't worry about nothing. We went into the wilderness and even rebelled then. So he's telling Moses, after y'all come out of this wilderness after 40 years, these people are going to have children, and they're going to sacrifice their children to demons. They're going to set their children up, and oh, let me put my child on a commercial or whatever. This is what we bring children into this world for. You know, we want to take our kids to Disneyland and thinking that's it. Ride Mickey Mouse and all of this. This wasn't supposed to be a thing. Okay? So over the time, it starts to increase and increase of evil. We always forsook the law. Anytime it came about, Sundays became our Sabbaths. Okay? He told us not to eat pork. What we do, we turn around and eat pork anyway and make an excuse for it. Oh, but Peter said that we can eat pork. When? Peter ain't never say he could eat pork. Peter never even ate no pork. But this is what these people will believe because they only read maybe one line or two inside the Bible and then that's it. Or you will have some of these wicked pastors or some of these wicked deacons, they'll come out and tell you, yeah, you can go ahead and just do whatever you want because God said that the law, you can do whatever you want, you okay. No, he did not say that. He never said nothing like that. But a lot of people won't read the Bible. They won't even try to understand what is going on. They won't even question their pastors. At a time when I was going to church on a Sunday, I never thought to question my grandmother when you read in the law and when you say that the seventh day of the week is the Sabbath day. That's a Saturday, bro. It starts on a certain time to a certain time. So from Friday at evening until Saturday at evening is a Sabbath. That's the seventh day of the week. You cannot do nothing. You cannot go outside and spend no money. You cannot be buying anything. You better not do none of this. You better be studying these laws, statutes, and commandments and freshening your mind with something different. But a lot of people wasn't doing that. They was cool with going to church on a Sunday from 9 to 12, and then that's it for the rest of the day. You can't even cook on the Sabbath day. Unless you was making a lamb, you can't cook nothing else on the Sabbath day. You better make that the night before and then take it out the next day. That way you could be able to have something to eat. But a lot of people wasn't taken to the law. They just did whatever it is that they wanted to do. So he's telling Moses, these people are going to do whatever they want to do, and I'm giving them the law. Giving them a way to live, and these people are not going to listen to this, Moses. So I'm just letting you know, for your sake and your peace of mind, I want you to write all of this in a book, so that way later on in the time, right now and later on, I want y'all to be able to understand that I never forsook you. I never said, yo, you know what? I don't care about the children of Israel, or people is dying from COVID, or kids is getting shot up in the street by cops, or whatever the case may be. I never said that I don't care about you. But because you refuse to follow my law, statutes, and commandments, this is what you're going to go into. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to reach down there and say, oh, let me help you, when I gave you a way of help. Gave you the laws. Gave you commandments, I gave you judgments, and I gave you statutes. You guys refuse to follow it. I'm God. I got feelings too. Now let's go to the help meet and let's figure out what this help meet was about. This is the book of Jubilee. Chapter 3, verse 5 through 10. And the Lord said unto us, this is the angels that's talking to Moses, okay? And at that time, when he was letting Moses know what was going on, he is letting him know about the creation or the beginning, okay? When God says, yo, you know, let's give Adam a help me, in the Bible, we are going to give him this help me, and these was the certain kind of things that we need to do in order to give him this help me. Let's see what it's about. And the Lord said unto us, it is not good that the man should be alone. Let us make a helpmeet for him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon him, and he slept. And he took for the woman one rib from amongst his ribs. And this rib was the origin of the woman from amongst his ribs. And he built up the flesh in its stead. So this rib that he took, this bone, it wasn't just bone anymore. He gave it legs, you know, he gave it arms, he gave it a head, put a mind into it, put a heart, you know, put a spirit into it, you know, amongst other things that a woman's supposed to have. And built the woman. And he awaked Adam out of his sleep, and on awakening, he rose on the sixth day, and he brought her to him, and he knew her, and said unto her, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called my wife, because she was taken from her husband. Therefore shall man and wife be one, and therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And the first week was Adam created, and the rib his wife, and the second week he showed her unto him. And for this reason the commandment was given to keep in their defilement, for a male 7 days, and for a female twice 7 days. And after Adam had completed 40 days in the land where he had been created, we brought him into the Garden of Eden to till it and keep it. But his wife they brought in on the 80th day, and after this she entered into the Garden of Eden. So there was a thing that they had to learn, which was a commandment. They had to learn and understand, when I place you into this garden now, there's a thing that I want y'all to follow, and this is a thing that I want y'all to keep. And if y'all don't keep it, this is what's going to happen. Okay, so now Adam already knows, once he was created, how the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you are to not to touch it. So now I put you into the garden. I still got your wife for 80 days. I'm going to teach her the same commandment, and I'm going to drill this into her head. So Adam did 40 days in the land where he was created before he was even put into the garden. Now he's in the garden after his 40-day trial. The woman got to do 80. So you had an extra little bit of time, Eve, to be able to do the law, statutes, and the commandments, to understand it and how to not to be deceived. Let's see if she followed it or not. This is back to the Bible. I'm sorry. Put the Jubilee down. We getting back to the Bible and to the laws, and to find out exactly. We already know what this helpmeet was about. Okay. Now that we got this helpmeet, Adam had to name all of the animals and all of the fowl and everything that God created. So when God gave him this particular job, he did his job to the fullest, because he's still waiting for Eve to come through. So now Eve done came through, they walked around, and he's letting her know, like, yo, listen, that's a bear over there. I named it Black Bear, and there's a brown bear over there, and maybe back here is a white bear. Here goes the tigers, okay? Here goes the fish. I'm gonna name this one a shark, and I'm gonna name this one a whale. So it wasn't just they met up and then, now we're gonna have sex and everything is up. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. They did a thing. But unfortunately, they never had clothes, okay? So we're going to understand exactly what Eve did once she went inside of the garden. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1 through 3. Now, the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the tree, of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So not only was this commandment given to Adam, it was also given to Eve. Now this serpent, this snake that, like I said, God created all things. He created the animals. So this snake was more subtle than any other animal that was out there. Now, this snake didn't go to Adam and say, yo, Adam, yo, listen, did God say, yo, you can't eat off of the fruit of the tree of good and knowledge? No, he went straight to the female. Why? Why he go straight to the female? Why you ain't go to Adam? Adam was out there first because you was scared of him, right? But this is not just a snake. This is also Satan at the same time. He always makes our women transgress the law, statutes, and commandments. And then the women makes the men transgress the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? So let's go into this. Book of Genesis, chapter 3, verses 4 through 6. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Yo, God told me this, but you a snake. This is God telling me, don't eat off this tree or you're going to die. But the snake is telling me, you're not going to die. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Okay. For God doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So here it is, Adam out there doing his thing. She already know what type of job Adam got. I'm still out here naming these animals, and I'm tilling the ground. I'm making sure everything is growing the way it's supposed to be. You know, I'm doing my thing. Catch me on my lunch break, boo. She came to him on the lunch break to bring him a piece of fruit. And this was off of the tree that wasn't even supposed to be touched. So Eve went and made this decision after she acknowledged the fact that God said don't touch it. She went and made this decision on her own. But she didn't just make this decision on her own for herself. She made this decision for Adam, and she made this decision for every one of us here to this day. Because she did this thing, this was something that was going to come about now. There's come consequences. This is not just, oh, you ate off the fruit and I'm just going to let you be because I thought it was cute. God is not the type of person that's going to look at it and say, oh, I think it's cute because you went against my commandment. I'm not saying that. What's going on? I'm not saying that. So he's not doing this particular thing. So let's see what happens according to when she ate off this fruit. Genesis chapter 3, verse 9 through 11. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? So here it is now. One, God already knew where he was at. He already knew what you and Eve already did. But I want to inquire first. I want to see what you're going to do. Are you going to lie to me, or are you going to tell me the truth? What is going to happen? So I guess he decided to let him know, like, yo, God, you know, I found out that I was naked. I tried to sew some fig leaves together and try to hide my nakedness. And then when I heard your voice, I got a little scared. I decided to hide myself. Okay, so you hid yourself. But first and foremost, who told you you was naked? Because somebody had to tell you this. You didn't even know you was naked. I created you, and you've been running around naked 40 days plus. Your wife been running around naked 40 days plus. Now you discover that you're naked now, and you decide to cover yourself up with some fig leaves. If I wanted to cover you up and dress you, I would have dressed you when I made you. I didn't dress you, and it was for a reason. But because you did this thing now, later on in the time when men and women start to come about, guess what's going to happen? These people are going to start taking on fashions and wearing certain clothing that I don't require of them. That's something that's just is not going to please me. I'm not going to like this thing. So because of this now, and because you did this thing now, I have to punish you according to what I told you not to do. I commanded you not to do this thing, and you did this thing anyway. Why?